And we're live. Welcome to 21 Live. I'm Anthony Dream Johnson, founder of the 21 Studios and the 21 Convention, your host for today's episode. On the show with me today, I have the one and only Nicholas Cloud. He is the individual primarily responsible for introducing me to the Red Pill, and particularly the work of Rollo Tomasi back in 2016 at the Under 21 Convention and around that time frame. Nick, welcome to the show.
Anthony, it's good to be back with you.
Hell yeah. I need to also make clear, too, that Nick Cloud's taken on a pretty important role with us in terms of managing our web properties and web presence over time. And he's been an absolutely fantastic asset for that role in the company. So thanks for coming on again, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
So the goal of today's show is to talk about a number of issues within 21 Studios with regard to our presence on YouTube, our websites and properties like 21 University, the service, and then bringing people on board to help out with the initiatives and goals we have in that direction. In particular, what Nick Cloud's been working on for us for a couple months now is a complete rebuild and transformation for the 21 University service that you guys know, where you can get all your videos from 21 Studios early and ad-free. Nick, did you want to talk about a little bit why that is from your perspective?
Yeah, well, I'll back up a little bit in time. First,
Okay.
though, the way I got involved with 21 Studios and doing tech work for Anthony was because I started using the 21 University website myself. I signed up and became a member, went to the Under 21 Convention, and there were just parts of the site that had some specific issues that weren't working quite right. So I reached out to Anthony and I said, hey, I can look at this. And this is what I do for a living. Maybe help you out, just volunteer a little bit and fix this, because it was a valuable asset to me, to my personal growth as a human being and as a man, and I wanted to contribute back in the specific way that I could. So that's how I
think I actually remember that specific email too, by the way.
Yeah, we had a couple of back and forths, and it was around the forum, 21 Campus Forum.
Oh yeah, the campus. Yep, that's coming, still coming.
It is good. Well, it works now. It works now. We fixed it. We got it going. So that's how I became involved with the project. And so over time, I've been doing some extra work on the site for Anthony and just helping kind of any technical needs that have arisen. One thing that started becoming apparent as I was attending additional 21 conventions, I've been to 2 of the full events now, plus the Under 21 Convention. One thing that became apparent was that Anthony's kind of vision for growth of 21 University and the sheer volume of video content that he is producing. Those 2 goals were kind of incompatible with the setup that we have now. The website has worked really well up to this point. It still works well, but it's not really scalable to the extent that Anthony's vision needs it to be. So we started brainstorming, and I've been a software developer now for probably 13 years, and I've done a lot of different types of projects, and so I started brainstorming on what would we need to do to actually take this and make it something better, something faster, something more scalable than what it is now. So we came up with a plan, and I've been working on doing some of the implementation of that just to see proof of concept type of stuff, if we could make it work. And we're at a point now where yes, we think that's totally feasible. But what we need is some additional talent to help actually execute the entire plan.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically building a small Netflix style service from scratch is in a way what we're doing. Is that an accurate kind of description of it?
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly right. We have some additional, I mean, Netflix is pretty much just streaming video, and I think 21 University is mostly that, but then we have other things that are also a part of that service. Our forums and things that we want to add so that users have value added on top of the videos. As part of being a subscriber, you get a bunch of additional things. So we have what we're working with now, plus features we want to add to benefit users later on. So there's a big scope of work.
Well, let's pause here too for a second. We're doing this, and this has been going on now. We've been working on this in 2017 and 2018. That's exactly the time where YouTube channels like Sargon of Akkad and Jordan B. Peterson are getting kicked off YouTube temporarily, or in some cases, other channels are getting deleted. So we're working on we're talking about scalability and like the goals of the company and the goals of the service, but we're also doing it in a context and an environment that's like hostile to any channel or media company that's in any way controversial. Like even stepping a little bit outside the approved borders, you just get your channel is a risk of getting nuked. I founded this channel over 10 years ago, and every day over the past year, I'd say that's on my mind. Like, is the channel going to be fine today? Probably. But it could also just get deleted by some SJW feminist at YouTube or Google who doesn't like it. And 21 University and rebuilding it's a way to get away from that.
Right,
and that's
exactly.
something that we've talked about a lot.
Yeah, in general, like in software, we try to avoid reinventing the wheel. But at this point, we are in a cultural context where if you don't control that wheel and your primary means of communication is video, and the platforms that do stream video are actively working against you or your ideas or the people who share those ideas, then you have to consider alternatives. And that's the goal here, is for us to have a solid backup and an alternative that we control, so that we don't have to worry about getting demonetized or getting banned.
Yeah, the way I've seen it is it's like a security and reliability issue. Like our continued ability to put videos on YouTube and on the web is like hindered without something like 21 University to back it up, that we have command over and control over to a huge extent, versus YouTube where we have like, we're at their mercy, whatever they want to do.
Right.
I mean, that's it. They're, they have terms of service and shit, but they'll easily, it's all like vague and very easy to manipulate or use for whatever purpose they have.
And the one thing, and I don't think you and I have talked about this, it's something I have thought about, is that, we value the privacy and the security of our users, like who use our site. When you're using YouTube, you're using your Google account. I mean, that's tied to so many things. And Google, as we've seen recently, it isn't exactly amenable to people who are looking to sources of truth or sources of information that they consider to be non-politically correct. So being able to protect our users and their privacy, I think, is really beneficial for us. And that's part of the security aspect of this, is that we want to lock that down and control it.
It's independence, essentially. And we're also, and you're right, when they're on YouTube, YouTube's been great for us personally, to this company, over 10 years, but that could change at any point. And in the meantime, to the extent you are critical of YouTube and Google, you're feeding the beast by giving them tons of data, right?
Right.
I mean, but that's been discussed probably in many channels at this point, but yeah, don't feed the beast if you don't have to.
Right, exactly. So what we're looking for, as far as technical talent, part of the reason we're having this live stream is, I know there are a lot of people out there, a lot of guys out there who both have a passion for what 21 Studios does, for the information that 21 Studios puts out, and also have technical chops, who've also worked in the software world. And
sorry to interrupt you, but Sam Boda, the Audible narrator for the Rational Mail series, books 1 and 2, just gave us a super chat donation. So thank you, Sam. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, hell yeah.
Awesome.
Please continue. Sorry about that.
No, but I'm saying, so if you're out there, if you're listening to this and you are involved in software development, if you have some experience with open source software, you just want to get onto a project and donate some of your time, there are plenty of things to do. Anthony and I have thought about ways to incentivize and reward people, whether it's discounts on tickets to the convention, whether it's personal references on resumes, using this project as a portfolio piece type of thing. Giving attribution to anyone who contributes on a public about page for this. If any of that sounds interesting to you, and you think you want to work with some cutting edge technologies, you're interested in doing some remote work. Again, this is all on a volunteer basis. That's the kind of person we're looking for, who's just hungry for this type of thing, and who really loves the vision of 21 Studios and would love to be part of this.
Hell yeah. Let me double down on what you just said too. So you mentioned in particular discount to attending the main event, the 21 convention. I'm willing to go up to, and this will be based on Nick Cloud's judgment. So I'm going to leave this up to Nick. But Nick has the ability to give whoever works on 21 University up to and including not just a discount, but a free ticket to the event. A free in the sense that you won't pay for it, other than in the work you contributed to 21 University or whatever else Nick wants you to do. And that this year, by the way, is not going to be $14.99. The final price for tickets here to the event is going to be $17.99. So you could get up to $1,800 off basically attending the event, which is fucking huge.
Yeah, and of course you would get free membership to 21 University, since you would be help building it. So, right. But yeah, that's what we're looking for. The technical detail, I won't go into the technical details here, other than we will explore streaming video, things like that. So it's a basic web application, membership, and all that stuff gets handled. It's all going to be based on open source technologies. If you have a resume or a GitHub account, you can send that to ncloud@21studios.tech. I would be happy to dialogue with you and take a look at that and share a bit of what we're doing and what's been accomplished so far. But yeah, we are at a point right now where we need some extra minds, some extra bodies, and some extra fingers typing on those keyboards to produce something that I think will be truly amazing.
Hell yeah. And by the way, I didn't mention this, but I'm going to put a link to whatever way they want to contact you in the video description underneath the video once it's done. So email address, we can put a link to the contact form, anything like that. 100%.
Perfect.
You mentioned too, by the way, the vision of 21 Studios, and that is, in my experience of running this business now for over 11 years, technically, it's the single most important thing that I think anyone on a volunteer or employment basis for this company can have in any generalized sense of that term. Your love for the work we do and the vision and the issues is like paramount, above and beyond anything else, above and beyond even something like competence, skill set, experience. Like, you need to be dedicated to what we're doing. And that is really valuable to me. It produces, I mean, it's what you have, Nick. Like, you've been to 3 events now and you understand like how important and serious these issues are. And the same with Meg McNally and a number of other guys, speakers and, staff that work with us. It's fucking huge. Otherwise, people fade out and they don't do their best work.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you have to be passionate for something and let it has to be a labor of love in a lot of respects. And kind of dovetailing onto that, if you're that type of person, if you're that type of if you're really passionate about this, and you may not think you have the technical chops, but maybe you want to get your foot into this, or maybe you're kind of junior at this, still reach out and contact me, because there may be ways that we can still plug you in and mentor you and let you learn alongside this for the time that you want to put in. Mentorship and sharing knowledge. I really strongly believe in that, and this is a good project to expose yourself to different things and to help your own career move forward.
And Nick, what's the most important code set that will be useful for you? JavaScript, right?
Yeah, JavaScript. Yeah, 100% JavaScript, and then just experience with HTML and CSS. If you've got it, basic relational database, any flavor of SQL. But those are kind of the core technologies that we're using. Yeah.
Okay. We also mentioned, we were talking privately, before we went live. You mentioned Merit. That's something that I can't speak highly enough of in terms of like working with people in any capacity for any job. But did you want to comment on that as well from your tech perspective, working in the tech industry as you do, independent of 21 Studios?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things, at least in my career, that has helped me, I'm kind of self-taught. I kind of waffled around in school for about a year and then dropped out once I actually found a job. But I ended up doing nights and weekends and teaching myself and hammering out source code on my spare time. So I strongly believe that when you come to the table and you want to bring, you want something from the table, that you have to be able to give something in exchange. We are 21 Studios is a merit-based organization. That's what I love about it. It's all about excellence first and being the best version of yourself and putting your best foot forward. And those things should be rewarded. And that's what we want to see in people who want to come onto this project, is that they're willing to put their best foot forward and say, yes, I can do this. I will do this. I know that I'm worth the effort that I'll put into it.
Yeah. And all this is irrelevant though, or it's irrelevant in the sense that, so basically if you're white, Asian, black, Jewish, bald, old, skinny, fat, none of that matters for what we're asking for. What matters is merit and the love of the work.
Right.
And you mentioned though in tech right now, like it's particularly James Damore is a pretty famous example at this point. But yeah, apparently in larger companies, the merit of your work no longer matters if you have an unimproved opinion.
Well, it's not only in larger companies too. This is going on. So right now, the tech industry is very hostile towards heterosexual white men, and probably actually white gay men too. They're probably in a similar boat as we are. But I can point to a number of different things that have happened just recently in the tech community that prove that this is the case. There was not long ago. So one of the technologies that we're using in the new version of 21 Studios is called Node.js. And not long ago, there was a bit of drama where one of the members of the technical committee, who is responsible for maintaining Node.js, was essentially almost burned at the stake by the Code of Conduct Committee for the project, who you can imagine how those two committees are composed. One is probably composed of technical talent, of people who are serious about the work, and the other is composed of people with blue hair.
Diversity.
Yeah. So
diversity of hair color.
So they went to burn him at the stake, and he published a big long article in his defense. And in the aftermath that ensued, someone started noticing that people on the Code of Conduct Committee who were criticizing him started pointing out their tweets and things that they were saying publicly. And it was things like, oh, kill all white men, or
shit.
Yeah, or stop hiring cis white men forever. Problems with sexism solved. Or soon we shall purge all men from our communities, and we'll actually be able to get work done without the likes of you. I mean, these are public tweets. Never underestimate the wrath of a mildly inconvenienced white dude. These are tweets by people who were on the Code of Conduct Committee, who are judging this man for some very minor thing that he did that was ended up being basically a misunderstanding. The committee voted 60% to keep him, 60 to 40, because it was so absurd.
That's pretty close. That's pretty close.
It is close, and it's insane. So that is not even in a corporation. This is the nature. This isn't an open source project, a foundation that's under the Linux Foundation. So
yeah.
So
and it's safe to assume that the 40% who voted against him, these people are. It sounds like they're extremely racist. Is what just to make it very, very clear.
Racist and sexist. I mean, it's very. There's no way to read those things and be like, oh, this is.
I guess if they kill all the white men, they'll leave some white women. But I mean, fuck, like, holy shit.
Right. Exactly. So yeah. So you're right. So the environment, both in corporate America and even in the open source communities, are very hostile right now. So if you're a man and you want to be in a place where you have people who will support you on the merits of your work, this is the kind of project that we run. It's not. I don't care what your religion or sexual orientation is or anything like that. I'm looking for your merits. I'm looking for what you can do with the code, what you can bring to this project to make it awesome.
The same is true for speakers at the 21 convention. I mean, the whole company is run like this. I don't care what. We've had gay speakers at the convention now. We've had white, black, Asian, Indian. I'm part Jewish myself. Like Ross Jeffries is obviously full Jew. So yeah, we have a whole variety of, and yeah, because it's all about merit and what the issues are and the truth. I mean, if it's not apparent at this point, guys, with 21 Studios is a platform for truth, regardless of whether or not it pisses someone off or a million people off. And yeah, the same is true with the people I want to work with.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's the kind of team, and that's the kind of people that we want on this project. There's not going to be a code of conduct attached to the project that tries to legislate your every thought and every move and every code commit. It's just going to be the quality of your code and whether or not you're just civil and get along with your teammates and are passionate about what we're doing. That's pretty much it.
Yep. I want to then or kind of end cap that or pause on that and say that what you're doing with 21 University specifically, independent of all other web presence and things that we do, it's super, super important because of being the risk of being deplatformed on YouTube and anything else. Like we were on VidMe for a while too, but the whole platform shut down. Yeah, that's another issue. I'm looking now into using like Steemit and like DTube and stuff like that And I hope those take off, but they also might just disappear next month, like VidMe.
Yeah, I tried to pull up. I tried to pull up videos on DTube today, and I was getting a bunch of errors. So I don't know if that was a small hiccup or if they're just experiencing scaling issues. And but yeah, seeing these alternative tube sites pop up is great. And you know, we hope that there's more traction there for sites that actually value free speech and diversity of actual ideas, and not just want to be an echo chamber for pre-approved, rubber-stamped, politically correct ideology. But at the same time, you're still, you're still relying on someone else to have your, to be your platform, and you know, so there's always a risk there.
I mean, Nick, let me ask you this: from my perspective as the founder and CEO of this company, the rebuild of 21 University is vital for the future, like, continuation of the entire company, because of the way the internet's been, being transformed, and the risks present to any controversial media company that has anything to say outside of, go feminism and go SJW irrational nonsense.
Yeah.
Which, we're way outside of that. So I don't know if we'll have this YouTube channel in 5 days or 5 years, but at some point, bad things could happen. And I definitely want something like 21 University being as solid and reliable as possible, off site or off YouTube and off platform.
Yeah.
So would you say it's vital in that sense?
Yeah, I think so. And not only that, but I just heard today that the UK barred entry for several quote unquote alt-right personalities, of which one was Tommy Lauren, who you're probably somewhat familiar with her, at least. I don't know if
there's a rapper too who got banned, just like some guy who just raps.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that.
But that reminded me of, like, that you have an entire country who's banning people their entry based on ideology, and on the internet you have countries like, say, China, who can basically go to Google and say, hey, we're going to disallow, or you have to disallow this level of content from YouTube or whatever. We don't want that in China. So it's, if you want people to hear the truth, it's much easier for Google or YouTube at a national level to say, oh, okay, well, we just won't show your people that, versus if you own your own platform, you have your own site, maybe the government of China is not really going to be interested in snooping out 21 studios. Maybe they will be, I don't know. Hopefully it gets big enough that
we'll see. On my keynote, did I send you my keynote yet? The video of it, the review?
No. Well, I think you did. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, though.
You were in it, of course, too. But me and Socrates watched it the other night in person in Orlando, and I'm very excited to put it out, and more than I ever have about any other video in the history of 21 Studios. But I get triggered watching the speech that I gave. It's that triggering. So I'm like, we got to batten down the fucking hatches. Like, holy shit, this is gonna be. It'll be the biggest truth bomb we've ever dropped, or definitely the most controversial video.
Yeah.
So, basically. And
now is the time to be dropping those truth bombs, because the foundations are shaking pretty hard, and people need these ideas more than ever.
Yeah, we need to carpet bomb the truth. Just keep dropping truth bombs, as many as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 21 University, like you said, right now it works, and it works pretty well. But in a long enough time span, it's just not scalable to what we need. So.
Right.
And plus, let me say this too. We currently rely on, for video hosting, for example, we use private. We're not directly hosting the videos ourselves on a private server. They're being hosted by a video hosting company that's not YouTube. I don't even want to say it just to keep it private, and that's fine. But they might kick us off as well in a long enough time span, even independent of any publicity that they get from it, including zero. So. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, for everybody watching, the university as it stands is pretty safe and secure, but it's not as strong as it needs to be. And rebuilding it's going to accomplish that from the ground up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've been getting a lot of chats and some super chats and discussion here too. Should go through some of this. Someone actually asked any chance of a convention or event in Australia, which reminds me of a UK comment. So for those of you who don't know this, Nick Cloud's only been to the conventions in America, in Florida. We've had the 21 convention all around the world, including Melbourne, Australia, and London, England twice, and Sweden. I do not believe currently or within the next half decade that we could have a 21 convention event in Australia in the United Kingdom or in Sweden. I would either get personally banned or the event would in some way be absolutely shut off by the government in some way. Roosh, for example, is a potential speaker for this convention any day of the week. He's banned from the United Kingdom, absolutely. He was banned, I think, by the current prime minister of the United Kingdom personally before she became prime minister. So in terms of countries, it's very similar to what's happening on the internet. Like, I can't bring the convention to Australia right now, and I wanted to. I wanted to bring it to Sydney. I'm very much interested in going back to Europe with the event, but we can't go to the UK. We'll get kicked out or banned before the event even takes off, and then we'll lose a ton of money, time, and resources that were put into that event that got canceled. The internet, with 21 University, it's the same way. Like, we can't. I want to keep growing the YouTube channel and investing in that, but that might not play out long term. We might get banned, kicked off of it for some reason. So in terms of event in Australia, Sydney is the goal, but I don't know when that's going to happen, man. It might take 10, 20 years because your country right now is very hostile to anything critical of feminism and anything for that matter outside of the approved thinking box, which we have increasingly gotten into over time. Hope that answers the question from Squizzo Manizo was his username. Nick, I also wanted to talk a little bit while we're on the call with talk about other possibilities in the company for people to work with us. So for those of you watching, the primary thing that we want to work on right now is 21 University by far. So if you have interest in that, look in the video description for links for how to get involved with that more, including Nick Cloud's email, and then we'll put in some links and stuff like that. Beyond that, though, if you're interested in working at 21 Studios, either as a volunteer, as an intern, or long-term getting on board more officially, very much interested in having you. If you've been following this chat along and these issues are important to you, they make sense with regard to merit and love of the issues in the company. I'll take that a little bit further, though. So if you have experience with WordPress, sales, like phone sales, or even just through the web, copywriting skills, graphic design, Photoshop, cloud computing, customer support, really, if you're just a hardworking young man who's competent and loves his company, I want to hear from you. If you're interested in working with the company in some capacity, and that could be, again, on a volunteer basis, as a short-term internship, or long-term getting more involved more officially. I don't know if you had any input on that, Nick, but floor is yours if you have some. Cloud computing, for example, was your input on that one.
Yeah, I just think, as the project progresses later on down the road, we will need people who have some level of expertise in cloud computing, just because we're going to, storage is going to be an issue. Fast read-only access to video streams, that's going to be an issue. We're probably a few steps off from that, but if that's something that you have experience with, just keep it in the back of your mind, and again, contact me. It'd be great to just get in touch and connect on LinkedIn, because that's what the cool kids do. No, that's not what the cool kids do. Don't connect with me on LinkedIn.
Cool kids go to 21 Studio or 21 Convention.
That's right. That's what they do.
Speaking of video hosting, though, a lot of guys, a lot of people are not, intimately involved in making videos. Maybe on your phone, you make some every once in a while. I'll say this: my keynote that I was just talking with you about, I can't even. It's such a huge speech. It's over 2 hours that I actually have to create different versions at different bit rates to export, because we have a 20 gigabyte limit for a single file with our current video host for 21 University. So just to put it in perspective, one speech can be anywhere from 10 to 20 gigabytes or more for one fucking speech that has to be hosted. And in that sense, I'm thankful that YouTube has done that for not only our channel, but everyone on the internet. Free video hosting that's very reliable and very fast. But that's what we're up against long term. And as its technology advances, those video sizes, they might grow over time. That could go down too, depending on encoding, technology and stuff like that. But generally, like if we shoot 4K at the convention this year, which I'd love to do, a 2-hour speech or even an hour speech would be easily 20, 30, 40 gigabytes or more. So our need for like video hosting over time, particularly with a private, service like 21 University, is huge. Never mind different, encoding styles or resolutions underneath that. That's the full one. Then there's like the 1080p version, the 720p version, the 40p version, and on down the line, which just rack up, hosting space. That's a shit ton of videos. Yeah, we have thousands on YouTube alone. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. Like I have like in my own home, I have like 20 hard drives. And
Wow.
that's just one location where the videos are hosted. Never mind on the web, never mind with the video editor, you know, the director. Yeah, we have tons and tons and tons of shit. Guys, if you have any questions too, you can go ahead and ask in the chat with regard to what's going on. I don't know if you saw this too, Nick, with the live chat. You can actually see it on the video itself. Give you a link. Cool. Yeah, thanks for the super chats, guys. We've gotten a few more. Keep it coming. All right. Well, Nick, we don't have to keep going. Is there anything else you'd like to kind of close out with in terms of inviting people to work with what we're doing on a volunteer basis or otherwise?
You know, just going to say that, you know, when you come to this project, they thinking about like what you want to get out of it, like what you bring to the table in terms of your skills, but also what you want to get out of it, whether it's a resume, being a resume piece, being you know, a way to connect, to network with other professional developers. If you're kind of new to development, if you just need to get up and get your feet into some very current technologies, you know, this can really work for you as well. Like I said, I've been in the software world for about 13 years. I've worked with a lot of different teams. I have what I consider to be a pretty smooth development life cycle. You know, I believe in you know, making progress quickly, failing early, failing fast. You know, delivering small chunks incrementally over time. So I have a pretty good handle on what needs to be done and how to do it.
You've written a few books as well, haven't you?
Yes, I've co-written 2 books. One was on called Modern Web Development. It's outdated now since it's probably about 4 years old, so nothing modern about it now. And then I wrote a couple years ago, wrote a book on JavaScript, a lot of JavaScript libraries that I've used and that have been very helpful in my career. So yeah, those were both good experience. I will never, I don't know if I'll ever write another technical book again. You know, that's a year of your life you don't get back, but
yeah,
it was a good time.
Imagine. Nice.
But yeah.
There's a question too. I was just thinking about, are there any minimums that you would require from someone? Like someone mentioned that they only had on the live chat, they had 1 year of experience with something. And it sounded, yeah, he said they only had, yeah, so Raised Reborn said, too bad I only have 1 year of backend experience.
Just backend? I would say the minimum would be you have to have some level of full stack. So you have to have done both front and back end. You know, you have to kind of have to know how to stand up a web app, basically. As far as the technologies go, yes, JavaScript, it's a very strong preference for that. If you've only had experience with JavaScript on the client, that's okay. So that's, for example, if you do like PHP on your back end or Java or something like that, that's fine. You know, we're using Node, so it's JavaScript front and back, which is fantastic. You know, but as far as minimum, yeah, you can set up a web app. It would be kind of where I draw that line, and then I'd evaluate after that.
Perfect. Exactly. I think it's exactly what the guys needed. Sweet. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up the chat. It's been awesome, Nick, as always, talking with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been a good time.
We should have you on the Red Band group sometime. Talk Red Pill issues, man. 100%.
That'd be fun.
Cool. Well, Nick, thanks for your time. Everyone else, thanks for tuning in live to 21 Live with Anthony Johnson and Nick Cloud. Hope to hear from you soon. Look in the video description underneath the video for a link and contact information from Nick and get involved. I'll also give a specific link as well for getting involved with the company outside of what Nick's doing with 21 University. So that could be WordPress development, graphic design, customer support, anywhere you want to get involved with this on a volunteer internship basis. I'll give you guys a special link for that. With that said, gentlemen, appreciate your time. Nick, thank you very much. Stay on the call. I'm going to end the live stream. We can chat a little bit.
Sounds good.
See you guys. Peace.